Welcome to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Noah Brady, joined alongside MTN Sports reporters Adam Brown and Dylan Simmons here in the heart of campus of Middle Tennessee State University, the Blue Raider Hall of Fame. Excited to bring you more college football action as we get going into Week 2. Adam, we're going to kick things off with you. Take us around the CUSA.
All right, Noah, first we're going to head up to Army West Point to watch the Black Knights take on the Roadrunners. And then on the way home, we're going to stop in Lynchburg, Virginia to watch UAB take on Liberty. Let's take a look.
First game up is UTSA at Army. The Roadrunners are running 1,847 miles northeast to face off against the Army Black Knights at West Point. Despite the best efforts of UTSA quarterback Frank Harris, who was the team's leading passer and rusher last week, the Roadrunners lost a thriller at home against the Houston Cougars in triple overtime. This week against Army, it will come down to how well they can stay on assignment and how well they can tackle against a bruising Army triple option attack. Army's coming off a high-scoring game themselves, which they lost against Coastal Carolina. Army attempted a total of 8 passes on the day, of which they completed 4, with 2 being touchdowns. Army's triple option game plan is very clear, but that doesn't make it any easier to slow down. Both of these teams are 0-1 and could easily be 1-0. We'll see them exercise that frustration at the Military Academy today. Our next game is soon-to-be former Conference USA member the UAB Blazers, traveling to future CUSA member Liberty to take on the Flames. Liberty took no prisoners in Week 1 with a 5-turnover performance from the Flames and a stop on a 2-point try in overtime to seal the win. They will look to repeat that performance against the Blazers of UAB, who not only scored 59 points in their season debut, but pitched a shutout as well with 4 turnovers along the way. Both of these defenses have a nose for the football, and with 2 more than capable offenses, this is a recipe for a must-see game tonight in Lynchburg.
Should be interesting to see if the Roadrunners can hold off this triple option attack from the Cadets.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I was really impressed by the FAU-Ohio matchup last weekend. Was not expecting the Bobcats to come away with the victory in an old-fashioned Western shootout, but somebody called it ahead of time. But I do have to say, this UTSA Army matchup looks awesome. Loved what I saw from the Roadrunners against Houston, really representing CUSA, and I can't wait to see how that translates into this weekend.
Guys, great preview for those couple of matchups. Let's take a look at the rest of the lineup coming up around the CUSA. Coming up next on Blue Raider Extra Point, we have this week's Big Blue Review and the Blue Raider Spotlight. All that and more on Blue Raider Extra Point right here on True Blue TV.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Welcome back, and let's step off of the gridiron for a second and go over to Dylan Simmons with this week's Big Blue Review. Dylan, what do you got for us?
Yeah, well, MT Women's Soccer came up with a huge victory this past weekend, and we've also got a season preview of MTSU hockey. Let's take a look.
MT Women's Soccer has been on a roll recently, to say the least. The Blue Raiders claimed victory in their second of 2 home matchups over the weekend on Sunday against in-state opponent Austin Peay. the Blue Raiders were able to unleash a scoring barrage courtesy of Manon Labarghe, Tyja Fraser, and Eleanor Go. Labarghe impressed enough to be named TSWA Women's Soccer Player of the Week. As always, MTSU was lifted up greatly by the play of Hannah Suter, who may have to be called Hannah Saver after this game, as she allowed just one goal among 19 potential shots. Perhaps the biggest accomplishment of the weekend, however, goes to Coach Aston Roden, as he recorded his 200th career win on Sunday. The Raiders hope to carry this momentum into their next matchup as they host the Golden Eagles of Tennessee Tech next on September 8th. The rumble of the Rowdy Raiders is starting to be heard by all far and wide. The MTSU Ice Hockey Club will be kicking off their season with a series against Georgia Tech this weekend. MT is coming off a successful 2021-22 season in which they went to the prestigious CHS playoffs. Keep an eye on dynamic playmakers such as goalie Ryan Bobro and winger Corey Settle throughout the year. MT will once again be led by head coach Tim Rathert. Georgia Tech comes into this game with a 2-0 record as they swept their inaugural series against UAH. It seems as though Rowdy Raiders versus Ramblin' Wreck should equal an instant classic on the ice this week.
Always great to see MT women's soccer pull out a huge victory, and guys, I gotta say, cannot wait to see the opening weekend of Rowdy Raider hockey.
Yeah, Dylan, 3-0 is absolutely dominant on the soccer pitch, so you'd love to see that from the Lady Raiders. And guys, I know I am fired up for some MTSU hockey against the Yellow Jackets tonight.
Did you say the Yellow Jackets?
As
in the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets?
I did.
Well, that sounds like one heck of a matchup. MTN Sports should be all... Oh, wait, they are! MTN Sports is so happy to be providing hockey coverage for the Rowdy Raiders all season long as they'll be at home in Antioch, Tennessee. You can find that exclusive play-by-play coverage on MiddleTennesseeNews.net/sports, so be sure to tune in. And let's switch gears back over to Blue Raider Extra Point. Let's tune into this week's Blue Raider Spotlight.
On July 27th, the Blue Raiders traveled to Arlington, Texas to take on the Conference USA kickoff event. This one-day media spectacle was held in Globe Life Park near Jerry's World. MTSU was represented by head coach Rick Stockstill, defensive end Jordan Ferguson, and preseason All-American punt returner and wide receiver Jalen Lane. The Blue Raiders also talked about how they leaned on their veteran leadership this offseason.
This offseason we had a lot of player-led practices, and it was great to see guys step up, take charge, and we got a lot of good work in with no coaches out there. So I see a lot of focus in this team this year.
Stockstill said that 16 players were unable to participate in spring practice. One of those players was one of the 4 quarterbacks from last year in Chase Cunningham. The biggest storyline coming out of spring practice was the quarterback battle with him and Nick Fadiato. Coach Stockstill, when asked about naming a starting quarterback, said that it was too early to name a starter.
Since November when he had surgery, so he's been out there, working out and all that, but till you get out there on the field and do it, you got to make sure he's healthy. And I got a lot of confidence in Chase. I got a lot of confidence in Nick.
Last year, the defense was second in Conference USA in interceptions, and Ferguson talked about what makes the defense a turnover machine.
We all work together, we get pass rush the quarterback, and make them hurry the ball, get the ball out. And the DB's got, 2 to 3, 4 seconds to cover, and we get there, whether we get there or not, and throw the ball up, make a bad ball.
The Blue Raiders will look to try and rebound after their Week 1 loss to James Madison. They will look to create game-changing plays behind the arm of Chase Cunningham and the veterans of the team. Today's game should be a great one in defining the Blue Raider season.
Unfortunately, the Red Hat is on the field, which means we have to take a TV timeout. But on the other side, we've got the scoop and the scouting report right here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to the Blue Raider Hall of Fame. Let's check in with Zachary Lone, who has this week's scouting report as the Blue Raiders travel to Colorado State.
This week, the Blue Raiders look to get back on track as they travel to Fort Collins to take on the Colorado State Rams. Both teams are coming off of a rough week as the Rams only averaged 3.7 yards per play against Michigan. The Rams were unable to get anything going on the offensive side of the ball as they had a total of 219 yards and 7 points as they lost in the Big House 51-7. For the Blue Raiders to be successful today, they will need to get the rushing attack going. Against James Madison, MTSU had 28 rushing attempts that resulted in only 12 yards. That is good for only 0.4 yards per carry. In the last 6 wins for the Blue Raiders in 2021, they rushed for at least 120 yards in each individual game. The Rams gave up more than 5 yards per carry in their first game, which resulted in Michigan gaining almost 240 yards. The Blue Raiders will have to get the rushing attack going if they want to escape with a win. Clay Millen went 16 of 20 last week for 137 yards. He was efficient in his 20 attempts, even though he did not throw for a ton of yards. Millen had no time to throw though, as he was sacked 7 times. The Blue Raiders were able to get into the backfield to sack James Madison twice last week. So, the Blue Raiders will need to get pressure on Millen to try and hurry up his internal clock. This weekend, the Blue Raiders are looking to get back on track to repeat their success from a year ago. They will face off against a battle-tested Colorado State, who will be looking for the same redemption after having a similar result as MTSU did. Both teams are looking to make an early season statement. The Blue Raiders have a big test this week as they continue to prepare. The Blue Raiders have a big test this week as they continue to prepare for conference play that starts in just a few weeks.
Zach, as always, great work on this week's scouting report. Guys, thoughts?
Should be a good one against the Rocky Mountain Rams.
Have to agree. Now let's see what Grant Langston has this week on The Scoop.
All right, tonight joining me on The Scoop is Braden Nurse, the sports editor of Colorado State's newspaper, the Rocky Mountain Collegiate. All right, Braden, establishing a winning culture, as we all know, is crucial to any new head coach's tenure. What was Jay Norvell's message to the boys after Saturday's loss to Michigan?
So I think the general message after the game at Michigan was that it was a lot to take on. It was probably too much too soon, but there were a lot of good things that Norvell saw that maybe went unnoticed by a lot of the fans. Mainly Clay Millen passing. Obviously he had a lot of sacks, and that's just due to his lack of experience, as well as Michigan's overwhelming defense, and just that decision making. But there were a lot of good positives on both sides of the ball.
And one thing I noticed while watching the game was that plays weren't necessarily always made by the defense, but the boys have definitely showed a propensity to find the football. How do you expect that to play out as the season continues, and particularly this week against MTSU?
So yeah, there were a lot of good moments on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, there were some not so good moments, especially the play where a screen pass turned into a 61-yard touchdown. But other than that, like you said, the guys, the Rams are doing pretty well finding the ball in defense. As the season goes on, we have a lot of young guys. So just like Millen, there's a lot of getting comfortable to be done. And as the season goes on, I think just for for the defensive coordinators and defensive coaches to get their players to buy into the system and get more comfortable with it. I think that's the key to improving this season.
All right. Thanks, Braden.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Awesome as always, Grant. Great to always hear the other side of the story.
Yeah, guys, now we're going to switch gears and talk about the Blue Raiders' key to succeed, to be successful as they take on the Rams this week. Dylan, we're going to start out with you.
Yeah, so for my first key, I'm talking about ram the offense. Colorado State had a lot of issues last week in Ann Arbor against the Wolverines. Clay Millen, the quarterback for Colorado State, had issues in the pocket. If MTSU can blitz and play more effective defense, they should have a much better time. For number 2, return to the run. MTSU did not run the ball effectively. They had 12 rushing yards, guys. That has got to improve for MTSU to succeed. If they can run effectively, though, it'll open up a world of imagination, and they'll be able to move forward and perhaps play better. And for third, I've got road redemption. MTSU needs to come in with a chip on their shoulder. They just got blown out, guys. They just got beaten badly by a team that just moved up to the FBS. They need to play with a chip on their shoulder and something to prove. They need to come out with shots that will rattle Colorado State's ancestors in order to get a victory, and I think that will be the biggest key for them.
Imagine Dylan Simmons getting through his keys without a pun in there. I love it. Adam, let's go to you.
All right, well, I've got a pun to start off with as well. Rocky Mountain, apply yourselves is what I need MTSU to do this week. Last week, they got kicked in the teeth. They did not respond. They rolled over, and that was the end of the game. I need some application this week. Secondly, we need to win the rushing battle like Dylan was talking about. MTSU's 12 yards is not going to cut it, but neither is Colorado's 82 last week. So who's going to get to 100 first could be who wins the game. And finally, punters are people too. Kyle Ubrick punted 9 times last week. He's tired. We only had 10 first downs. That's not enough. We need to get more first downs and keep him off the field, get him some water.
I like that. My first key for the Blue Raiders, slow down. The time of possession battle, horrific throughout the first half and even into the second half, really. The whole game against JMU, not a good time for the Blue Raiders in terms of time of possession. Slow down, keep the defense off the field. Number 2, stay ahead of the sticks. Chase Cunningham was forced into so many third and long situations, and he was put under pressure and ended up in the dirt way too often. And it was kind of a scary time. You thought he was going to end up hurt again this year. And finally, like I said last week, guys, run the football, and even in a more general sense, fundamentals. I'm not going to name any names, but if you get 2 hands on a football, especially with the sticky fingers on those gloves, let's try and pull that in for a catch, yeah? Those are our keys for the Blue Raiders to be successful on the road this week in Colorado. We'll be back with more right here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Welcome back to the Blue Raider Hall of Fame. I know it's our favorite part of the show. Guys, you know what time it is. It's time for the picks.
Yes,
Dylan, we're going to start with you. Let's kick it off with UTSA heading to Army.
Yeah, I got to say, so proud of the Roadrunners. Shout out to former anchor Nick Frazier. I know he'd be proud of them too. And I got to say, UTSA gets another big victory this weekend.
Yeah, I don't think UTSA gets the win, but they did have 4 sacks and 9 tackles for a loss. That's what you want to see against a triple option attack. It shows good pursuit and tackling techniques.
Absolutely. UTSA got close to getting their first ranked win in program history, and Army allowed nearly 500 yards on defense last week. I think UTSA gets this one, guys. All right, let's take it over to Maryland, heading to Charlotte.
Yeah, the 49ers have not struck gold this year. They've struck pyrite, and they've had a lot of issues. And I don't know if it's going to get much better going up against a Big Ten school in Maryland. I think Charlotte is going to end up taking the L in this one. Terrapins get the win.
Maryland is a 27-point favorite, and I'm saying they cover it. It's going to be Terrapins big.
Absolutely. I'm going with Maryland as well, and let me tell you why. Charlotte has not won a game since the first week of November last year, and that was in overtime against Rice. I think Maryland sweeps the board on this one. Southeastern Louisiana heading to FAU.
Yeah, I got to admit, I was shocked when FAU lost to Ohio, but I got to say, N'Kosi Perry, like I said last week, absolute beast. He's playing on another level right now, and I think his quarterbacking ability is going to be the difference. Southeast Louisiana, it's going to be pretty much a tune-up game. FAU with the win.
FAU's defense had 2 night-and-day performances where in week 1 they kind of shut down their opponent, and in week 2 against Ohio they allowed them to score over 30 points like we talked about last week. But one thing is for sure, this offense is consistent and this offense can score points, and I've got FAU.
Both of you guys talked about N'Kosi Perry, and I'm going to hit on their running back with McCammon. I mean, what a threat he is coming out of that backfield. Too much for Southeastern Louisiana this week. Give me FAU moving out to 2-1. Let's talk UAB and Liberty.
Yeah, in terms of Conference USA teams, this might be the game of the week. Liberty, a future Conference USA opponent, UAB, a current one. Going to be so awesome to see these two teams go back and forth. 2 explosive offenses, but I think UAB has that little bit extra, and they get the win.
Liberty and UAB had really similar games last week against the 2 opponents that they played. Both of them forced a lot of turnovers, but the difference was Liberty did it against a better opponent. Whoever has the ball last in this game could get the win. I think it's going to be Liberty, and watch out for their quarterback, the Malik Willis replacement, Caden Salter. Used to be a really highly touted recruit.
Absolutely. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Malik Willis is gone, and I think Liberty is too. Give me UAB by a large margin. UAB moves out to 2-0 in this one. FIU heading to Texas State.
Yeah, I got to admit, FIU's defense looks concerning right now. They've had a lot of issues thus far. Currently haven't had a win yet, but neither has Texas State. These are 2 teams that are still trying to find their identity. I think that FIU and Texas State, it's going to be close, but I think FIU finds a way to sneak out a victory in this one.
Interesting.
FIU scored 38 points last week, but don't let that fool you because it was only 1 point enough to escape Bryant.
Yes.
So I think Texas gets the win here.
I think Texas State also gets it, and let me tell you why. Texas State is the number 12 out of 12 states in FBS football in the state of Texas.
Yes.
I think this is a grudge match for them. I think Texas State takes this one by 3. Let's talk Stephen F. Austin heading to La Tech.
Yeah, Stephen F. Austin, always a tough FCS team. They can always give a little bit of a challenge. Louisiana Tech still kind of reeling, but the Bulldogs are going to be able to find some consistency in this one. Going up against an opponent that they should beat, I think they need to view this as a tune-up game to better themselves for the future. I think they get the win.
This is an interesting matchup because the last couple times these 2 teams have played, it's been close, like surprisingly close. But I don't think Stephen F. Austin's a bad team, but they're not good enough to get this win this week.
I like the Bulldogs at home. Give me La Tech. North Texas and Texas Southern.
Yeah, 2 Texas teams coming in. North Texas has had a lot of issues on the defensive side of the ball. And for lack of a better term, I think we need to see the Mean Green defense be a little bit more mean. They need to show a little bit more ferocity. I think that they will get that as the season progresses forward. And I think they'll use this as a great opportunity by getting the win.
So I don't know how much you guys value the ESPN Football Power Index, but it gives Texas Southern a 0.6% chance to win this game. I think that's about accurate.
I think North Texas is going to pull away with this one. Their offense is in sync, and they're going to be hard to stop. McNeese taking on Rice.
All right, so I know in the past I've been a little bit critical of Rice. I've said they've played as bland as Rice in the past, but I will say they're going up against McNeese State. I think they'll take care of business. However, Rice got hung up 65 points against USC, and they're going to need to better themselves as the year progresses, but this is a great opportunity to do so.
Dylan, I think Rice goes hibachi this week, and they get the win.
I cannot believe you brought a bag of rice, but I think this game is going to be as bland as that bag of rice. The only way I'm tuning in is if Steve Harvey's on play-by-play commentary, guys. I think this is going to be a match that ends with a score of 3-0. Either a field goal or a safety is going to separate these two teams. All right, we're almost done. New Mexico State heading to UTEP.
Yeah, now in terms of games that could be potential upsets, I think this is one of them. You know, New Mexico State and UTEP have both had their issues. UTEP got destroyed by Oklahoma on national television. They already lost the game before that. So UTEP's in a bit of a tailspin right now. New Mexico State still trying to also find their identity. But I think the Aggies have a great opportunity to come into UTEP. UTEP's reeling, and I think that's going to be the biggest opportunity. New Mexico State gets the win.
Dylan, I'm right there with you. I think New Mexico State gets the win. They're giving UTEP 13 points over New Mexico State. These are two 0-2 teams. I don't see that happening.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to go against y'all on this one. I think UTEP gets the win. And let's do a little History Channel feature right here. Let me take y'all back in time real quick. UTEP 12-5 in its 17 matchups against New Mexico State between 2009 and 2016. UTEP did not lose against these guys. I think that new streak that looks a lot like that one from 2009 to 2016 starts again right here in 2022. Give me UTEP. All right, we're bringing it home. MTSU in Colorado State.
Absolutely. So we saw MTSU. They looked a little bit overmatched. They looked out of sorts against James Madison. But I think that this is an opportunity for this team to find new footing. This is an opportunity for the offense to play with more consistency. This is an opportunity for the defense to rise above the heap and find their next level. And I think this is going to be a critical game in the Coach Stockstill era. And I think it's an opportunity for MTSU to prove that they are a valuable commodity to Conference USA. MTSU gets a 27-24 win.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So, guys, I am officially in show me mode with MTSU. I know Noah picks them every week, but I'm going to have to do the opposite until they can show me that they know how to go out there and win a game. I need them to show me that they care when they're losing. I need them to show me some fight when they're down. And I need the coaches to show me that they can make coaching adjustments. And that doesn't mean a desperate reverse double handoff in the backfield when your O-line can't even block 6 seconds for your quarterback to throw the ball. So until they show me that they can win a game, I can't pick the Raiders, and I'm taking the Rocky Mountain Rams.
All right, well, I think the only way it could have gone worse for MTSU last week is if they got shut out, and that's exactly what Colorado State did last week. Now, granted, it was against Michigan, but Dylan, I'm on the same page as you. I think this is a big measuring stick point for both of these teams to see where they are as they get into the conference portion of their season. I'm taking the Blue Raiders, and I'm taking them by a big margin. Coach Stock, Chase Cunningham, Jordan Ferguson, they're all showing up. They're all coming to the plate. It's going to be a good day for Blue Raider football.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Well, guys, we could talk college football all day, but unfortunately, that is all the time that we have. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Blue Raider Extra Point. Be sure to tune in every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. throughout the rest of college football season for more right here on True Blue TV.
And if you missed this or any episode, you can check it out on MiddleTennesseeNews.net and hit the sports tab.
Be sure to follow us at MTN Sports on Twitter and Instagram. We'll see all of you next week.
All right, throw me that rice.
How did we not see that in your pocket?
Because I like to keep things hidden, and I thought it'd be funny. And hey, when you play as bland as rice and get 65 hung up on you, there's an issue there.
Yeah, this is all I got to say to that. Y'all ready?
Okay.
Rice, baby.
Rice,
Collaborate and listen.
Rice is
with
back
a brand new
with
They're going to be on,
mission.
they're gonna be on Caleb Williams' Heisman reel.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
This is what you get, Rice Pack. Sorry,
Yeah.
Rice. I promise we don't hate you.
Great value brand rice.
Exactly, great value brand. I got it from the local Walmart.
Double O Simmons with the rice
All
pack.
right, we're done.